But inflation is called a country buster. You can go back 300 years and you can see why some great empires failed. Many of them failed because of the word inflation. You look at Germany, old day Germany, and you look at so many other countries. Inflation is a country buster, and it's busting our country right now, where bacon is 5 times more expensive than it was just a short while. Bacon! Even I say, I don't want any bacon, it's too expensive. But we're going to get it under control, and we're going to do it fast, because we're going to have so much energy, and the prices are going to come down, and everything else is going to follow. Under crooked Joe Biden, the economy is floundering. Families are suffering, and the largest growth industry in our country by far is government. It's the only thing that's growing. When I'm reelected, we will stop Joe Biden's inflation disaster, and we will rebuild the greatest economy in the history of the world. We'll do it. And unlike Ron DeSanctimonious, I will always protect Social Security and Medicare. He did not protect it. He wanted to do bad things to it for our great senior citizens. And when I get back into the Oval Office, I will totally obliterate the deep state. We started with Comey. We got rid of him. We got rid of a lot of bad people. We will root out the corruption, bribery, and influence selling in our nation's capital. And we will start by exposing every last crime committed by crooked Joe Biden. Because now that he indicted me, we're allowed to look at him. But he did real bad things. We will restore law and order to our communities. And I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every Marxist prosecutor in America for their illegal, racist, and reverse enforcement of the law. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. No, we're going to make America great again. It's not going to take very long. Not going to take very long. And I will keep men out of women's sports. Is that okay? I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. I will continue to protect innocent life. We will restore free speech. And I will secure our elections like they've never been secured before. And by the way, our goal on elections will be one-day voting with paper ballots and voter ID. Is that okay? Now they'll really cheat. They'll get those machines humming. They'll say, we got to get this guy out of there. He's going to cause us to lose a fortune. Yeah, we want paper ballots. You know, they make paper now, watermark paper. That's amazing. We want paper ballots. France did it. France just went to paper ballots, one-day voting, voter ID, 36 million people. It took place at a winner, they had a loser. Everyone home, and the loser was unhappy. The winner was happy, and they'll already started the next fight. But you know what? They had no disputes. They had mail-in ballots a long time ago, and they turned out to be so corrupt. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you have corrupt elections. I don't care what it is. It's anybody that wants it, they're corrupt. And that includes Republicans, by the way. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you are going to have really corrupt elections. But until then, Republicans must win. We have to win so we can do this. And in conclusion, this is what we must do to restore our country to greatness. Together we're taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. No matter how hateful or corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be, you must never forget, this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It belongs to the people with us tonight. That's how we won. This is your home. This is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. From Tampa to Tallahassee, from Pensacola to Sarasota, from Gainesville to Jacksonville to Miami, we inherit the legacy of generations of American patriots who gave their blood, sweat, and tears to defend our country and to defend our freedom. We stand on the shoulders of American heroes who crossed the oceans, blazed the trail, settled the continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, dug out the Panama Canal. Nobody thought it was possible. Raised up the skyscrapers, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and from right here in this beautiful state launched our brave American astronauts to plant the American flag on the face of the moon. Together they made America into the single greatest nation in the history of the world. In decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that is the highest inflation in 50 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are skyrocketing. Likewise, we are a nation where energy costs have reached the highest in our history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant. We were just there a very short number of years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and many others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says, yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other country anywhere in the world. We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will be reducing their output of oil and substantially increasing the price. And that threat is met by announcing that we will no longer be drilling for oil in large areas of Alaska and other parts of our country. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal, yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal is fake and will lead to our country's destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all-electric cars, despite the fact that they can't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries and all of the other elements of those horrible cars are produced in China, with materials only available in China. When an unlimited amount of gasoline is available inexpensively right here in the United States, but it's not available in China. And now we are a nation that wants to make our great army tanks all electric, so that despite the fact that they will not be able to go very far, fewer pollutants will be released into the air of the territory that we are trying to conquer. And they also want to make our fighter jets with a green energy stamp losing 15% efficiency, but allowing us to keep our enemy's atmosphere crystal clear while we attempt to knock out their air force. We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the United States just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. What other country would do such a thing? We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your president, and for 4 straight years, it didn't happen. And China, with Taiwan, is next. We are a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against opposing political parties, something that we have never done before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and say it was a fact, not fiction. Where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, and the FBI knew it wasn't, but 51 intelligence agents said it was, and they knew it wasn't also. And a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war, which would be World War III and far more devastating than any of the previous world wars, because of the weaponry that no one ever wants to think about, talk about, but it's there. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are the enemy of the people. They refuse to discuss the Biden crime family, but enjoy covering false indictments of Donald Trump, who has done nothing wrong. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, and where crime is rampant and out of control like never ever before. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon, and China to use the trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to rival its own. And less than 3 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows that was the fact. Now Russia and China are holding summits to carve up the world, and perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to on the world stage. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. We are a nation that is hostile to liberty, to freedom, and to faith. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool of ruin, whose supply chain is broken, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the very bottom of every single list. We are a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them, beat up and kill their workers and customers, and leave with armloads of goods but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and all of the other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than formula for our beautiful little babies. A nation whose once revered airports are dirty, they're crowded, they're a mess. You sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when they will, where ticket prices have tripled. They don't have the pilots to fly the planes. They don't seek qualified air traffic controllers, and they just don't know what the hell they're doing. We are a nation that has has lost its confidence, its willpower, and its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again.